경제기사? 어렵죠. 영어 경제기사? 더 어렵죠. 용어를 알면 경제가 보인다. 영어 경제 용어 맛집.
Econ Lounge.
Alright, so Rich Sam is going to try to make us rich.
Hopefully.
Yes.
And myself and you too. Because, of course, when you're reading economic news, which everybody does, because you need to know what's going on in the world economy in order to make the right investments in stocks, where to put your money, what to do, are you going to buy gold today? Are we going to buy Bitcoin today? But the expressions are difficult, but they're often very similar expressions, so we're going to go over some of them.
That's right. We're going to look at some of the most frequently used economic terms that you will find in English economic news.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at the first news piece.
Global markets have remained resilient despite President Trump's tariff shocks and political uncertainty. Economists point to rising equity prices, steady bond yields, and other supportive financial conditions as key indicators.
네, 트럼프의 관세 충격과 정치적 불확실성에도 세계 금융시장은 꽤 잘 버텨왔다. Why? Well, economists, 경제 전문가들은 주식시장은 오르고 채권 수익률도 steady, 안정적이고 또 기타 금융 상황도 괜찮은 편이라는 점을 근거로 들고 있다. 이런 내용이었습니다.
So this is something that we don't hear about a lot. It's good news for a change.
That's right.
Usually it's bad news.
We are often the bearer of bad news, but not today.
When you watch the news, it makes the world seem very scary, like everything is going very downhill very quickly, you know? I think it's partly because the news has to be always on now, you know? There's 24-hour news cycle.
Coverage, yeah.
So if you have news the whole time, you have to make a big deal sometimes out of things that aren't such a big deal. So
Right.
these days, if you watch the news, you may think that the global economy is headed for disaster, but apparently that's not actually the case.
Right, we have some good news today.
Right. So because we hear a lot about tariffs. Trump's tariffs are on, they're off, they're high, they're low, they're paused. Who knows what's going to happen next? Trump has caused a lot of uncertainty, certainly, in the global economy with the tariffs. But that hasn't actually had a really big effect quite yet.
여기서 tariffs라고 하는 거는 관세이죠. All right, so shall we have a look at some of the economic terms that you picked for us today?
Sure, we talked about equity prices. Economists are pointing to equity prices. They are staying strong, despite the fact that we may think that they're not. Equity prices basically just mean stocks. So it's a stock price, the price that a company's shares are traded on the stock market.
Okay, so equity는 주식 또는 지분이라는 뜻이고요. Equity prices는 주식의 가격, 즉 주가입니다. Now, stock prices, as you mentioned, and share prices랑 같은 의미인데 99.99%는 같은 의미예요. 그런데 사용될 때 보면 미세하게 다르기는 합니다.
How's
Do you want to
that?
say something? Okay. So there are two major differences. 이제 stock prices 또는 share prices는 보통 한 종목 또는 한 테마, 한 섹터의 이제 주식 가격을 뜻할 때 더 많이 사용을 하고요. 이와 반면에 equity prices는 조금 더 넓게 시장 흐름 전체의 주가를 얘기할 때 더 많이 사용이 됩니다.
Right.
But in the dictionary, the definitions are almost exactly the
Right.
same.
You can pretty much use them interchangeably. So equity prices and stock prices have stayed strong, but we might see them fall a little bit in the future as the effects of tariffs might kick in a little bit later on.
So the spelling of equity, EQUITY, and then prices. 그리고 equity prices라고 하는 게 조금 더 전문 단어라서 뭐 전문 단어라고 여겨져서 보면은 일반 뉴스 채널보다는 경제 또는 이제 financial news를 주로 다루는 매체에서 equity prices를 뭐 stock prices, share prices보다 더 자주 사용이 되는 거를
네.
보실 수 있을 겁니다.
They also use this expression a lot, bond yield. Steady bond yields is one of the indicators that the economy is doing fine. A bond yield, it's the percentage that you get from the bond that you have bought. And a bond is when you buy basically a part of a company. You're lending money to a company, and then they're paying you interest.
Or you can also buy government bonds as well,
Yep,
right?
those are good investments.
bon드는 채권이죠. 정부나 회사가 돈을 빌리기 위해서 이제 발행하는 일종의 그 차용 증서인데 government bond, 국채, corporate bond, 회사채인데 여기서 yield가 핵심입니다. Y-I-E-L-D. yield는 원래 생산하다, 산출하다 이런 뜻인데 금융 또는 이제 경제 기사에서 쓰일 때는 수익률을 뜻합니다. 그래서 bond yield라고 하면 채권 수익률이 되는 거죠. 이게 it comes up so much in economic news and it's a very important concept because in general 채권 수익률이 올라가면 금리 interest가 올라가고 있다 또는 이제 물가 상승, inflation이 생길 수도 있는 우려가 있다라는 신호가 될 수도 있기 때문에 경제 기사에 정말 자주 등장합니다.
Right. Both of these come out a lot in these kind of articles because they are really strong indicators of what is happening in the economy. So equity prices and bond yields. Look out for those.
Yes. All right, so let's listen to the news article once more.
Global markets have remained resilient despite President Trump's tariff shocks and political uncertainty. Economists point to rising equity prices, steady bond yields, and other supportive financial conditions as key indicators.
That was a very funky background music
Yeah,
for our happy economic news.
that's because it's good news for a change. We had
That's
it
right.
groovy today.
All right, so we have a pop quiz before we have a song break. Econ pop quiz.
All right. Oh, we are doing the sound. Okay. It's a type of loan certificate issued by governments or companies to borrow money. What is this called? Is it called a band? A B-A-N-D. 0 for true, X for false, or O for true, or 0. Either one, whatever you want. B-A-N-D. Is that a type of loan certificate issued by governments or companies to borrow money? True or false?
Alright, 팝 퀴즈 선물 아로마 힐링 세트 드리겠습니다. 자, 이제 OX 퀴즈예요. 아까 말씀드린 거 우리가 채권, bond, that was a big hint there. 이제 일종의 차용 증서, a type of loan certificate issued by governments, 정부, or companies, 기업. To borrow money is called what? B-A-N-D, band인가요? Tell us. Is it true or false? You can use any of those options. True, false, OX. You can use any of that. Please send your answers in to 문자 샵 1045 반디 유튜브 댓글로 정답 보내주시면 저희가 아로마 힐링 세트 한 분께 드리겠습니다.
We'll be back with more Econ Lounge. This is Harry Styles' Late Night Talking.
영어로 경제 뉴스 읽자. Econ Lounge 함께하고 계십니다. 우리가 앞서 드린 팝 퀴즈, a type of loan certificate issued by governments or companies to borrow money is called B-A-N-D, band. 정답이 아니었죠. It's false, X입니다. 채권은 영어로 bond이죠. B-O-N-D. 그래서 우리 한 분이 맞춰주셨는데 3489님께 네 여러분이 맞춰주셨는데 한 분께 저희가 아로마 힐링 세트를 드리겠습니다. So congratulations. 3489님 X 밴드가 아니라 본드요. 방송 첫날부터 퇴근길에 즐겨 듣습니다.
I was hoping it was going to be 끝번호 007.
007? as in 007 Bond, James Bond. All right, so the answer was false. Let's have a look at the next Econ News article.
Taiwan's central bank now expects the economy to grow 4.55% in 2025, helped by strong demand for AI and more private investment after a big jump earlier this year. But it predicts slower growth of 2.68% in 2026 because of tough comparisons with 2025 and new U.S. tariffs.
A lot of numbers in that article.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was
And you didn't trip over any of
That
them.
was economic news. Yeah, very numbers based. Good news for Taiwan. Their growth forecast is way up to 4.55%. It used to only be 3%. So that's very strong. Also, their bank, their national bank kept their interest rate at 2%, which is super low, which of course lets people borrow more money for business ventures and helps the economy grow.
That's right. 대만 중앙은행이 올해 자국 경제가 4.55% 성장할 것으로 전망하고 있는데 AI에 대한 demand, 수요도 강하고 민간 투자, private investment도 늘고 있어서라고 합니다.
They have very strong AI sector.
They do a very big memory sector as well.
Right,
So direct
semiconductors.
competitors to us in that regard.
Right, absolutely.
하지만 내년에는 성장률이 2.68%로 낮아질 것으로 보는데 이게 이유가 올해 성장률이 워낙 잘 나와서 그렇기도 하고 미국이 새로 매길 관세, there you go again, tariffs
Right.
영향도 있어서다. 이런 내용이었습니다.
So I think a lot of the effects of the tariffs aren't going to take effect immediately, aren't going to happen immediately, but they're going to be hitting us a little bit down the road once the economy really kind of soaks up what's happening with those.
That's right, because for now, we keep getting different answers regarding the precise number, exact number of the tariff, and also when they are going to come into effect. So we have to wait and see.
Right, and that uncertainty is never very good for the economy as well. But so far, we have had very strong demand in Taiwan. Our first expression will be strong demand for AI, of course. Around the world, we're all using AI more and more these days, and will continue to, I'm sure, and also more private investment. So strong demand, anything strong is good, right? Generally. Right? It's used as a positive adjective. So strong demand means high desire for something. People want it a lot, and so you can make more money from it.
네, 경제 뉴스에서 많이 나오는 표현 중에
네.
하나가 supply and demand이잖아요. supply는 공급, demand는 수요인데 여기서 strong demand라고 했으니까 강한 수요. In this article, we were talking about the strong demand for AI, and that applies to Taiwan because they have very cutting-edge AI technology.
Right, lots of AI companies coming out of Taiwan. We talk a lot about supply and demand in economics. So demand is how much people want something. Supply is how much there is of that thing. So if there's more supply than demand, the thing is cheap. If there's more demand than supply, obviously it is more expensive.
The invisible hand, as we like to say in economics. 그래서 strong demand의 반대되는 표현은 weak demand. 또는 sluggish demand입니다. 둘 다 이제 약한 수요, not enough demand를 뜻하죠.
So private investment has also been very good in Taiwan recently, apparently. So private investment is when private people are like individuals are funding companies or buying real estate or other capital, and it's not traded necessarily on a public exchange. We're not talking about stocks or bonds here. This is private investment.
That's right. 여기서 private investment, 민간 투자입니다. 그러니까 반대되는 개념은 public investment이겠죠. 공공 투자, 즉 정부가 하는 투자. 민간 투자는 정부가 아닌 기업이나 우리와 같은 개인이 하는 투자입니다. So they might invest in things like real estate, in technology, in infrastructure,
Right.
or some factories, or even R&D, research and development, and so on. Those are all private investment, 민간 투자.
Can be risky, but it can also make you a lot of money. But the news can't always be good. So the forecast for next year is going down, basically because of a tough comparison with this year. This year was so good that it's going to be a tough comparison for next year. So tough means difficult, anything that's going to be a little bit of a struggle. So a tough comparison when you're evaluating two situations. Often this is used in financial situations, so where one of them is highly successful, so it makes it difficult to achieve similar results in the future.
That's right. So it is a temporal comparison.
Right.
약간 시간차에 이제 비교하는 개념인데요. 이게 tough comparison, 보통 기업 실적 기사 또는 이제 나라의 growth, 이제 성장 전망 기사에서 많이 보이는 표현입니다. tough comparison. 지난 시기가 너무 좋아서 비교 대상 수치가 워낙 높아서 상대적으로 지금 성과 지표가 낮아 보이는 현상을 설명하는 표현입니다. tough comparison. 우리 한국 경제 기사 또는 경제 뉴스에서도 기저 효과 때문에 상대적으로 감소한 것처럼 보인다. 이런 식의 표현을 많이 쓰잖아요. 같은 개념입니다. 기저 효과 때문에 because of high base effect. This means the same thing as because of tough comparisons.
Right.
그래서 높은 기저 효과 때문에 because of tough comparisons, they can be used interchangeably.
We use the word tough very often to just mean something difficult or something hard. Like, oh, that test was tough.
맞아요. tough가 정말 어렵다라는 뜻이어서 그냥 우리 일반적으로도 how was your day?
Oh, it was a tough day.
It was tough. Or in cooking as well. If we're talking about meat
Yeah.
that has been overcooked, oh, the meat is tough. 아주 고기가 질기다라고 할 때도 tough라는 형용사를 씁니다.
Lots of different uses for that one.
Yeah, but in this case, tough comparison, we're talking about numbers and comparing it to the previous time frame.
You're also pretty tough, Sam.
Am I? In what regard? I'm strong?
You're a tough lady.
I'm a tough lady. 그거 칭찬인가요?
네.
For all our listeners?
Of course it
Please
is.
elaborate.
It's good to be tough. It means you're strong.
아하, 강한 사람이라는 뜻도 되죠.
Yeah.
All right, so let's have a look at the article once more.
Taiwan Central Bank now expects the economy to grow 4.55% in 2025, helped by strong demand for AI and more private investment after a big jump earlier this year. But it predicts slower growth of 2.68% in 2026 because of tough comparisons with 2025 and new U.S. tariffs.
All right, so those were your expressions for today's Econ Lounge. Let's have a look at those expressions being used in sample sentences. 그래서 예문과 함께 정리해 보겠습니다. 수요가 많아서 집값이 오르고 있어요.
Housing prices are rising due to strong demand.
투자자들은 돈을 어디에 넣을지 결정하기 위해 채권 수익률을 확인합니다.
Investors check bond yields to decide where to put their money.
기업 실적 호조로 주식 가격이 지난해 급등했습니다.
Equity prices have soared in the past year due to strong corporate earnings.
민간 투자는 경제 성장의 핵심적인 역할을 합니다.
Private investment plays a key role in economic growth.
Alright, so thank you very much for choosing those economic expressions. 왜냐하면 이거는 리치 쌤이 다 직접 준비해 오시는 거거든요.
You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed them so much.
So not so much of a tough lady now, huh? Alright, so we'll be back after a song and we will check out what we have in store in terms of the news for the second half of Evening Special.
It's Omi, I Want You.